Hello there! Alright, today I want to do a brief review and summary. Sorry, Ferris is too busy talking over me, or under me. Of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius War of the Visions. Okay, now, there is a lot to take in with this game, so I'm not sure where to start exactly. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I'm gonna have to turn Ferris down. She's gonna keep talking. Okay, so I'm just gonna be straightforward. I do not recommend this game. I can't recommend this game. There's way too much. There are way too many mechanics, way too many systems to have to learn, to have to deal with, to have to farm. Yes, it does have an energy or a stamina system. At this point in the game, you're not going to have a problem with stamina. What you're going to have a problem with is the overwhelming amount of content and features that you need to interact with to level up your characters. Even the characters that are low rarity, that are seemingly pointless, are incredibly difficult to level up and incredibly material intensive. I'm going to be honest with you, and I hope that this feedback in some way reaches the developers, but this is not good game design, especially this late in the game. You essentially need the same amount of materials. Some cases, they're different materials, but the same amount. And in some cases, they are the same materials, which is catastrophic. To level up an N character, an MR, an SR, or even a UR, there are certain materials within each range that are different. But for the most part, the materials to level the jobs, the requirement to grind JP to level their skills still exists. You still have to build resonance with them. There's a whole lot to go into, and I'm gonna be honest, like, some of these systems in themselves are not difficult. Leveling the character, getting JP, as long as there are, what's the word I'm looking for? Generous. As long as they are generous with JP keys, nowadays you can get a lot of JP really fast. So they are trying to find ways to dial down some of these systems, but as a whole, like, with the amount of systems there are, you have limit breaks, which have, at one point in time, these orbs were really difficult to maintain. Now, again, of course, they've made some of these things a lot easier to deal with. You get a lot more materials, but there's just a lot that goes into having to acquire some of them. A lot of, like, farming monthly quests, daily quests, very specific quests here and there, that it's just, as a whole, it comes out to be way too much, in my opinion, because, even when you're done the characters, you say you have awoken your character fully, you've limit broken it fully by collecting the shards. Maybe you're lucky to get a lot of pulls, which you're probably not, because the rates are fucking horrible in this game. I've quit and come back to this game multiple times over the span of the last year. Every time I come back, it's because I want to try to get a featured unit that interests me. I came back for Sephiroth, for instance. I had to go the entire way to Pity and coin Pity that guy, which is the worst way to get a unit that you could possibly get. Coming back again for Ferris, similar. I didn't have to coin Pity her. I did manage to pull her on a Pity. But to do that, you have to spend 40,000 Visior, which means you have to farm, if you're a free player, a lot of new content. Which for me, each time I came back, I cleared the entirety of the new story that they provided for us, got all the Visior that I could possibly scrounge from every other event or instance of Visior that I could get to have to get these characters. By the end of it, my willingness to farm out all the materials that I need to level the character is no longer there. I have no interest in doing that. And this is not even... This is just the tip of the iceberg. Because not only do you have limit breaks, not only do you have the awakens, the enhancement to level them is nothing, is insignificant. These things are not that bad. But you have the need for JP, leveling the abilities, maxing out the jobs so you can get into the advanced abilities up here at the top. So that means you have to level all of these down here, which means you need all of these materials. And again, these materials are shared between UR characters and non-UR characters. Can I find one quickly here? They're about, as you can see, they're about the same. These are the same materials that would require a UR character. So you get stuck in this situation where you might have the ability to fully level up an N, an SR, MR character, but it's not worth the materials because you need to save them for somebody that's more important. Now, moving on, because you have each character has 3 sub-jobs, which you need to level all of them to 15 to be able to get into the advanced jobs, the EX jobs. And then this goes up to 25 or something. I'm not even sure anymore. But it ends up being a pretty ridiculous amount. Yeah, 25. And then you need a lot of these rare materials like these blooms here, which again, they've been giving a lot more out via events and rewards and stuff. They give away gifts every now and then if you are a dedicated player. But is it really worth playing and grinding and being a dedicated player for that long? There's a ton of characters. I think they could definitely dumb down a lot of these systems and make it easier to level these characters. I don't see the reason why not. I feel like every character should have the ability to max out all these lower rarity characters. I understand the need for having the URs being difficult to level up. But the Ns, the MRs, the SRs, all these trash units need to be able to be leveled up with ease. This is just bad design. It's inaccessible to new players. It's overwhelming to new players. And it needs to be toned down. Because units also have an affinity with each other. The more you use them with other units, the stronger, the faster they get when they're, coordinated in a team and stuff. There's a lot of these really intricate mechanics. Bravery, faith. The more bravery and faith you have, the more damage you can deal. But if you have too much faith, you can also take too much damage. But if you don't have enough faith, none of your buffs work. It's a very weird system that can be very confusing, that really doesn't need to be there for new players at this point in time. Back when the game didn't have a lot of systems, it made a lot more sense to have all these things. But nowadays, it really doesn't. So not only do the characters have an affinity with each other, but they have affinity or resonance with espers. So this is another system that doesn't make any sense. Over time, people are going to max out a lot of these, and if they're really trying to fine-tune, they're going to be constantly swapping their espers around to make sure that they're, hitting 10 with a lot of variety of characters. But in all honesty, this is just a needless chore that eventually becomes insignificant if you are meticulous enough. This should just be removed. Just give everybody 10 out of 10 at all times. It feels terrible when you get a new unit and they're not getting the maximum potential from any of their stats or equipment or anything like that. And then you have to use them for some arbitrary amount of time until they feel, like they've reached their potential. I think that's terrible design this late in the game. It needs to be removed. Leveling the espers can be difficult because the cost is ridiculous. Their means to reduce the costs and stuff like that is this really annoying monthly token system where each month you can collect a bunch of coins by doing a bunch of missions and tasks, so it's just more chores. I like to call this game Chore of the Vision because everything feels like a fucking chore. Like, straight up. And which is why I honestly can't recommend this game. It is free to play, and you can get pretty far as a free player. So if you feel like a Final Fantasy Tactics-inspired gacha game with momentary bits of nostalgia, because all of the Final Fantasy units are limited. They're limited, so you're not going to come into this game and have access to the characters you think you might. You're going to have to wait for the specific banners or reruns and stuff. So, the nostalgia factor's not always going to be there. And when it is, are you going to get lucky enough to get the character? Probably not. So you know in advance you have to save up 40k and hope for the best, but ultimately expect the worst. Because most of the time you're going to get fucked. I only hear random people in Twitch chatters saying they got extremely lucky, but when I watch a lot of roles, when I experience the roles myself, I only experience pity situations or damn near it. With the very, very rare instance of, oh, I got a UR on the first pull, but it's usually someone you don't need anyway, right? So the monthly token system is how you can make the vision cards, the espers get more EXP or have things cost less, whatever. But it's fucking annoying. They just need to max those buffs for everybody over time, make them permanent. After a while, you fully max those buffs, you can forget about the token system entirely. Maybe the tokens can go to buy something like Gil Snappers that you can sell in the shop for Gil, or EXP cubes or something that you need. And again, your characters need way too much. I feel like there's way too many events to have to specifically target farm these things. They need to dial it back. Instead of having 30 different missions for different things, they need to start putting all of these drops that all the character needs in larger amounts in every piece of content. Everything you run should drop at least a little bit of something that everything needs or requires. You should eventually get to the point where you have so many materials you are looking for characters to try to upgrade. Not desperately grasping for the materials to upgrade your characters. You should be like, damn, I got a lot of materials. Let's see what characters we can upgrade today. Because this, in the long run, will enable you to do more of the selection quests, things where you need specific teams, and you need to use lower quality units. Which, again, it doesn't really feel worth leveling them until you need to level them for selection quests. And even then, it's a waste because, like I said, you're using the materials that could be going into URs. So are you sacrificing a potential UR's growth by leveling something for a selection quest? It's really fucking stupid. So, to Square Enix, you need to improve the quality of life in this game. You need to dial back the overwhelming amount of arbitrary content and excessive systems that don't need to be in the game any longer. Fine-tune a lot of these systems to make the game quicker, to, just be easier to get into, more accessible for new players, easier to learn. Because, again, if you think, like, I might be overreacting and some of these systems are too easy, I haven't even gotten into them all. I haven't even gotten into them all yet. This video is getting long, and I still got way more to get into. I'm gonna do this quick free summon though while we're here. Okay, a Balo summon. Thank you for that, I guess. Did they give me all the materials to fucking level up this dickhead to max? See, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. If they do stuff like that, that's good. But they weren't doing that in the past. And they definitely need to start cutting out a lot of this, you know, excessive design. While I'm in the summons, I have another good thing to point out. I just want to make sure they hide tickets and free summons. I gotta make sure that I did them all, lest I lose them, because that's what will normally happen. Because I just can't. There's too much going on. Too many paid banners that I don't care about. They are grasping for people's money and just exploiting the fucking niche, small crowd they have left. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would like to be able to recommend a game like this because at its core, it's got a great design, it's got a great look, aesthetic, all that stuff. Oh, let's see what we get here. We got a new unit. I've got no fucking clue who this guy is. Varouche, okay. I've got no clue who he is. I don't necessarily care either. It looks like we got an Esper, though? Or is this a card? That's a card. Vision card. Dark Efreet. Does that come with an Esper, too, though? I think it does. You get the Esper as well when you get the card, I believe. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. Some free stuff. Free URs. Thanks for the dev for stuff like that. But this is what I wanted to get into in the thing here. So they have the select ticket system where they give you a bunch of materials. So if you are hard up for materials, you don't want to have to go and target farm, they have access to it here. But this is, again, this is a very... It's an annoying system because you have to come all the way in here to use it. You can't be within the... You can't be within the unit thing and it be like, oh, you're missing this material here. There should be a button that does, like, select ticket use or something. They only give you access to trade other materials. They give you access to where you can farm it. But you can have a ticket in there and not know and just not use it. And I've always found that incredibly annoying because, again, I go into that menu, I have like 50 fucking tickets. Lightning, Alchrist, Red, okay. I need Lightning, Alchrist, Red. Magicite, Tablet, Magicite, Select Job, Memory, Blue, Azurite, 30, Elements of Fragment, Select Job, Memory, Blue, Azurite, 30, Awakening Prism, 100, Blue, Summon Tickets, Green, Summon Tickets, Azurite, 30, Jadeite, 15... Wait, what did I need again? I needed some kind of red thing, right? A red? Is there anything for red? Maybe if I see it, I'll remember what I needed? I don't even know what I needed anymore. What is this? Holy, select unit shards? Like, I mean, look at that. I had a unit, I have unit shards I could have, but I didn't know they're in here, you know? Is there anybody good in here? But you see what I mean? Like, this is horrible design. Like, the fact that you could just have tickets sitting here piling up and not know what they're for or what they're doing. Maybe I'll just take Varouche because I just got that guy. I have no fucking clue. Now, you know what? I like Charlotte. Nobody even wanted Charlotte but me. That's a little meme in the community. But yeah, look, Square Enix, I think like your mobile games have a lot of potential, but your biggest shortcoming is the fact that you refuse to make PC clients. You're really like you're shortchanging yourself. You're cutting out half the community. Not everybody wants to play games on their mobile device. There's a lot of people that like to play these mobile games at home. You really should be taking advantage of that portion of the market, and you have to be improving the quality of life over time for your games. Because, yeah, it's very difficult to manage dealing with a lot of these systems. There's way too many. Way too many. I like to see stuff like that you are giving the ability to level those lower characters. But I'm not going to use those on Balo because that's going to feel like a massive fucking waste. So I'm just going to save those for UR if I decide to care about that. But now let's look at equipment. So equipment, you can level up to +5 originally. Now it's +6, I believe. I don't know. And I don't even know what trust stones are. I couldn't tell you. This is a system that is completely beyond me. So good luck to any new players that are getting into this. I'm sure there was a tutorial that I probably skipped by accident or I wasn't ready for. So I didn't look at it. But the crafting system in this game is fucking dog shit. You need to farm 63 recipes, which is not a big deal. You can like skip farm a lot of the stuff now, or offline farm a lot of the stuff now. But the way that the stat growth is, it's very random. You could potentially not max out the stats. It's a shitty system. People had to re-roll a lot of gear, recraft, re-roll, re-level. It's very material intensive. And again, it's like if you have access to a lot of these materials because you've been playing a long time, great. But when you're a new player, you don't have access to a lot of these materials. And it's just like, I can't level any gear. If I do, it feels like a waste because I'm not getting the maximum stats. The gear is just a terrible system as well. It's fucking bad, like just straight up. So yeah, like I don't know what else I could say about this. I'm gonna let you guys see a little bit of gameplay. I'll run this like last story quest. Hopefully that's not spoilers for anybody. I won't run the last boss. Let me skip to like chapter fucking 2 or something. I don't want to run the last boss on you guys. Spoil anything for anybody. Let me just show you briefly what the battles look like, because at its core, the game is cool. It is very it's very nice to watch. It's very nice to play when you're not thinking about all the like bullshit of having to collect all these materials to barely be able to level your characters, you know? But, yeah, the video's getting pretty long, so I'm gonna let this fight run out. I probably missed a lot of stuff that I want to say about this game. But I'll leave that up to the people that are actually in the community to discuss if they happen to see this video and they have feedback on it. And want to agree or disagree with any of the sentiments that I had. But yeah, I think like this is the classic. This game has a lot of potential, but unfortunately that potential will probably never be realized because it's 3 years late. They're about to mash the global community into the JP community, which to me basically says that the global edition is dying. But Square Enix has a growing reputation of their mobile games dying and getting shut down, and I don't think they like that growing reputation. So we're going to see a lot more of what they're doing with this game, where they basically collide the global version directly into the JP version in due time, and remove the gap and the need for having two design teams. The music's pretty good. The animations of the skills look great. It is fun to invest in the characters and level them up and, you know, and see what they can do. Unfortunately, it's just very difficult. And one other piece of feedback, as a final note before I shut up, I just want to say to the developers, the recommended party setup and gearing system, you need to somehow put that in the hands of the community. Have the community set up ideal party setups, card setups, equipment setups, and have them highly rated so when you go to recommend a team, people are not getting these mishmash teams with the wrong espers, with the wrong cards. People are getting proper setups that the community rated upon. I think this will be a great way for you to include the community into the design philosophy or the design process of this game in some way. You know, there's a lot of games that do have that, where you go to the recommended builds and you get to see what other players vote on being the best, or the units that are the best. I think that this game, having that, a means to quickly form a party based on a community recommendation, would be an absolutely great addition to this game. Gearing up a team for specific fights is, as a final note, one of the most annoying parts about your FFBE games, both of them. So tone it down, add some quality of life, please. But yeah, I'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything. Let me know anything I missed, because again, I believe there's a lot going on with this game that needs drastic quality of life improvements that just may never happen if people don't talk about it. And in all honesty, it may be too late for this game. But if you do have the time and want to check out a decent free-to-play gacha, and you like in-depth systems, check out War of the Visions. It, you know, at its core is a good game. And yeah, if you like that in-depth shit, go for it. Dive in. By all means. Just not for me. Especially when you fucking come back every 2-3 months and you have to beat the entire story just to get one fucking unit. Having to pity every time you come back to the game sucks, Square Enix. Shit game. Later.